So, a couple of days ago I stayed up late trying to write this speech. And at some point I got a little bit distracted and started typing into Amazon Books leaders just to see, how many results came up. Does anyone want to have a guess at how many books have been written about leadership? Come on, guys.
5 million.
5 million? Too high. Too low.
3,736.
Very specific. No. I'll just tell you. It's 53,694 books written on leadership. So you've got to ask why. Why do we care so much about leadership? Well, in this speech I'm going to run through with you why leadership is so important, but how it's currently failing. What I've learned from this course about how leadership and influence needs to change, and how those learnings apply to my own life. In my mind, leadership and influence is important for one reason, because it helps us solve the world's complex problems. We looked at leaders and influencers because they're people who take on responsibility to create change. Yet, while it's evident that we have a lot of complex problems, even in this course we've looked at issues with science communication, environmental crises, reconciliation in Australia, or not, gender equality in Australia, or not. It's increasingly evident that most of these problems are escalating rather than being resolved. In short, that our leaders and influencers aren't effectively engaging with complex problems. They're doing something wrong. So what needs to change to better equip our leaders and influencers to deal with complexity? Well, through this course I've come to 3 conclusions about the way that leaders and influencers need to change. First, I think leaders and influencers need to reconceive of their responsibilities. Gandhi had the liberation of India, and Julia Gillard had the Labour Party, and your everyday business leader has the profit of their company. Well, rather than this siloed thinking, I think our new leaders need to define their responsibilities much more broadly. They need to cut across those traditional boundaries. Sure, they're a business leader, but they have social and environmental responsibilities too. Second, I think leaders and influencers need to become better team members rather than lone wolves. The great man, or that lone wolf idea of the leader, is still dominant, and it means that leaders can often place themselves above their other team members. However, this often has a really disempowering effect on their team. And instead, leaders need to become better team players, placing themselves on par with other team members and sharing that responsibility. Essentially, as Chris Naylor said, leaders need to learn to trust. They need to learn to trust others in their team. And third, I think leaders and influencers need to increase intergroup interaction to create the synergistic effect. And by intergroup interaction, I mean cross-disciplinary interaction, cross-worldview interaction, cross-class interaction, the kind of interaction that we've had in this course with different people. As many of us have found, it's been really rewarding, challenging at times, but very rewarding in the end, to mix with people with different backgrounds and ideologies, and have our minds opened and inspired and think about new ideas and innovations. And that's often referred to as that synergistic effect of groups. I think our new leaders and influencers need to use that synergistic effect to their advantage when they're crafting solutions to complex problems. So, how will I apply it to my own life? Well, maybe somewhat ironically, I've learned that I need to step back, that I need to stop thinking of myself as the world's next great man leader, and let other people take responsibility and ownership for projects. I've learned that working in teams of very different people can really open my mind up and challenge my own assumptions. And I've learned that I need to rise and stand more. Starting with new books and actually reading the news, I intend to open myself to new ideas and opportunities. And I hope that that will lead to me learning how to blend different ideas, creating wicked solutions to the world's wicked problems. And I just wanted to finish up on this last quote. So for every complex problem, there's a simple solution, and it's wrong. I think we need to keep that in mind when we talk about leadership and influence, solving the world's complex problems. We're never going to find our one super leader. But as Group 7 said, with our powers combined, let's get there one day.